Today, I want to show you guys 5 companies that made me take a second look to see if I had potentially found a company selling for far below what they're worth. I'm going to share with you guys my thoughts, what I saw, what made me want to take a second look, and why I decided to either pursue this further or to set it aside for now. The first company we have here is AZUL, ticker symbol AZUL. And here is their stock chart from 2017. You guys can see they have been absolutely hammered. You can see AZUL operates in Brazil and they are in the airline industry, just like any others in the US, primarily selling tickets to passengers, but also carrying some cargo. The two main pieces that made me want to take a second look at this company, AZUL, was these two right here. In this green, you can see the company's free cash flow, and you can see it has been climbing and is sitting near all-time highs around $500 million, $400 million in the most recent trailing 12 months, and their price to free cash flow is currently sitting at around 2, which is extremely low. It is very rare that you see a company generating cash flow and growing their cash flow, selling at a multiple for this low, which is what made me want to dig a little bit deeper to see what was going on. And maybe this was an opportunity to buy a company, especially in a foreign stock market, which has not performed as well as the US in quite some time, so they are particularly undervalued, that it might be an opportunity here. When I did some digging deeper, I found it to be pretty obvious why this company is selling for such a low multiple. And that is the first thing I like to look at when I'm going into any of these companies that are down significantly, is looking at their solvency risk. This company, you can see in the most recent trailing 12 months, they had free cash flow of $426 million. But they have interest expense of $563 million. That means their interest expense is eating up all of their free cash flow and then some, and they have $5.26 billion in debt outstanding. I did look a little bit deeper into their debt outstanding. They don't have insane maturities coming up for quite a while, but the interest expense alone is eating up everything they have, and they're continuing to take on more debt. I don't see this playing out well for this company. I could be totally missing something here, but that was enough for me to say I don't want any part. The next company I just made a full-length video on, which you guys can go and check out, and that is Warner Brothers Discovery. That full-length video goes into a lot more detail about their problems, but I want to show you guys why I decided to actually take a look at this company. Warner Brothers, if you're not familiar, operates as a media and entertainment company, much like Disney, but without the theme parks. They have DC Universe. Their most recent releases were movies like Wonka and Dune. They also own all of Discovery, HGTV, all those channels there. You can see their stock price since their high in 2014, again, has been nothing but down, apart from this blip here, which I touch on in that full-length video, in the merger between Warner Brothers and Discovery. You guys are going to see a recurring theme here, looking at Warner Brothers Discovery's free cash flow and price to free cash flow. You can see most recently their free cash flow in the trailing 12 months was about $6.16 billion, and their price to their free cash flow currently sits at only 3.5. This is, again, very low. Now, the entertainment industry is volatile in its own right, but this is a very low multiple, especially for a company that after their merger and everything have been at record free cash flow levels. Their free cash flow margin since 2014, you can see for most of this, they've sat in between here, maybe between 15 all the way up to almost 30, sitting right around maybe that 20 to 25% most of the time, I would say, around there. But it fell all the way down to 5%, but has been recovering and is back up to 15. As companies merge, generally they're able to get more efficient. We'll see if the management is able to really put that into play, but that's why I wanted to look further on this company. Just like the last company, one of the reasons that made me a little hesitant to look into this company, and it's one of the problems I go into depth on in that full-length video, is their interest expense and their total debt and paying off that debt. You can see in the most recent trailing 12 months, they have about 44 billion in debt, which is down from their peak of about 53. And their interest expense is about 2.4 billion, which is not near as extreme as AZUL, which we just looked at, but it still hinders the company. Now, this wasn't enough for me to say, nope, I'm not taking a look at it, and warranted me looking further and diving deep into what I thought this company was worth. You can check all my thoughts out on that full length video. The next we're going to take a look at is MODV, ticker symbol MODV. This was a company I had never known or heard of before. You can see their stock chart over the past 20 years. They were a high flyer 2021 and been beaten up since. This company engages in integrated supportive care for public and private payers and their patients, typically with non-emergency medical transportation, personal care, remote patient monitoring, and really anything like that when it comes to healthcare and just transportation. This one is slightly different than my last ones. I noticed this company had been beaten up since its all-time high. And at their all-time high, they were generating about 428 million in free cash flow, which even at their peak, which you saw how high their stock flew, mean they were only trading at a 6 times price to free cash flow. Since then, their free cash flow is negative, but potentially I thought they could return to here and maybe could see some catalysts for the stock to get re-rated as they see it might be stable. One of the biggest reasons why I decided to not pursue this company further was this right here. You can see their revenue over the past several quarters on a trailing 12 months basis has been growing, but their cost of revenue grows faster almost every single quarter than their revenue growth actually is, which causes them to have a lower gross profit. And I just think over time, this company is going to eat itself up. And also it seemed to me that much of their business was based around COVID. Now the revenue hasn't dropped, but it seemed that that was really propping this company up. And I didn't feel like I fully understood everything that they did. And so I decided for me, it was a pass, even though I might be missing something. The next that we're going to look up here is VF Corp, ticker symbol VFC. The companies that I look at are down significantly from their peak, just like VF Corp is right here. VF Corp owns a bunch of different apparel, footwear, and accessory brands, including Vans, North Face, Timberlands, and Dickies. The reason that I wanted to look more into this company is first off, they're sitting at a very low price to free cash flow of around 7. As you guys can see in their free cash flow margin, they had been pretty stable for a lot of years and had serious problems in 2022, not during COVID, but in 2022 that caused their stock price to really fall. But they brought in some new leadership that obviously, as you can see, has really started to turn things around, really right the ship. And this is really a turnaround play for the company, coming back to more normal valuations like we saw before, of price to free cash flows sitting anywhere from about 17 to 30 for the company, anywhere in between there. So really a story of re-rating, not necessarily crazy growth, but re-rating here. The reason I actually decided to hold off for now was I didn't think that they offered enough value at their current stock price to warrant me taking a position, as I had other opportunities that were better. This is very similar to what I decided with Warner Brothers. They're a great company and they have a great potential for returns, but maybe weren't sitting at a level that was attractive enough for me right now, although they currently are one on my watch list. One of the last ones is a big name that I see all the time in different videos on YouTube. People are talking all about is Palantir Technologies, ticker symbol PLTR. This company has had extreme fluctuations all the way down to $6 and now riding high at around 25. This was a company that is growing like crazy and I thought was worth looking into to see what it had to offer. You guys can see in this yearly reporting for their revenue, they have had serious growth. In 2019, growing their revenue about 25%, 2020, 47%, 2021, 41, and so on. 2023 most recently growing almost 17%. This is a company growing very, very well. You can see as well in this yearly bar chart right here that their cash from operating activities in the past 3 years has turned positive and has been growing very quickly. In just the past 2 years from 2021, it has grown more than 100%, going from 333 million to 712 million. One of the biggest reasons why I decided to stay away from this company is the business that they are in the development of data integration and software solutions. Guys, for me, this is an industry that is changing rapidly. Really, any businesses that right now in tech that utilize data seem to be changing rapidly as AI integrates and really reshapes our idea of how data should, can, and could be used. A lot of these companies can rise and fall very, very quickly. I do not have a good idea of what the next 10 years or even 5, heck, even the next 2 are going to look like. And it tells me that it's really hard to know what this company could look like in the next few years. That takes us to the second reason why, for now, I am passing on this company. That reason is their price to free cash flow. You can see currently they are sitting at a price to free cash flow of 53.57. That means through a discounted cash flow model that I'll show you guys here, this company would need to grow their free cash flow by 42.1% each year for the next 5 years to grow into a normalized price to free cash flow ratio of 25. I don't think that is really sustainable. Could it happen? Sure. Could I be totally wrong here? And this could be an absolutely amazing company? For sure. Guys, for me, I don't know enough about the business. It's trading at a 50 plus price to free cash flow, and the industry that it's in is inherently uncertain. So with that, guys, I hope today was valuable and interesting for you guys. Let me know what you thought, and if there's any companies that you would want me to take a look at and give my thoughts on, I'd love to do so. Thank you guys for being here.